Now, NBC4 at 5.
The house just blew up.
Before and after, a gas explosion reduces a well-kept South Columbus house to a pile of smoldering rubble.
Chopper 4 giving us a bird's eye view of the devastation. The two people inside the house, a man and a little girl, injured but alive. Tonight, you'll hear from the neighbors who rushed to help those victims.
I called 911 and headed right down that way.
And we're asking investigators, how did this explosion happen? We have live team coverage. NBC4 at 5 starts right now.
A grandfather and his granddaughter pulled from a house just seconds before it was engulfed in flames. Good evening. I'm Ellie Merritt.
And I'm Dwayne Pullman. Witnesses tell us they smelled gas before the house was leveled. It happened around 10:30 this morning at a home on Locke Avenue. That's just south of State Route 104.
We've been following this story all day. We have live team coverage for you tonight. Ted Hart and Rick Reitzel spoke to witnesses.
And Mike Bowersock and I are taking a closer look at the reports of a gas leak. Let's start with Ted, though. Ted, you actually talked to the man who pulled the victims from the house.
Yeah, we did, Dwayne. You know, it's just a pile of charred lumber and debris at this point. It was gone in seconds. This is a fairly tight-knit little neighborhood. Families that live here, many of them have lived here for decades, and they knew right away whose home this was. Just minutes before the explosion, Robert Hunter sensed something was wrong.
And I smell natural gas out there, and it's thick, you know, like you could cut it with a knife type of thick.
And then what sounded to some like a muffled sonic boom. Wendell Tackett lives 2 doors away and had just left the house for work.
We were just driving down the road, heard the boom, turned around, seen the house was leveled. So we turned around, jumped out, and ran up there, and there's 2 people in the house. We helped drag them out and get them out of there.
And just in time, too.
The house caught on fire seconds after we got them out. Burst up in flames pretty quick, too.
When I opened the door and then I looked, I could see the black smoke. So
did you head down that way? You said a neighbor
I called
did.
911 and headed right down that way.
Before it exploded, did you hear any bursting or hissing sounds?
No, it just went kaboom.
Okay.
They just leveled it.
When firefighters arrived, they found what was left of the home fully engulfed in flames. The owner, Jack Morris, and his 3-year-old granddaughter were burned, but alive.
The whole house was fell down around them, and lucky to be alive.
And this explosion rocked the whole neighborhood, and NBC4's Rick Reitzel talked to neighbors a block away, including one who shot some amazing video. Rick?
That's right, Ted. I'm here on a home on Colwell Avenue. Now, this is just behind the house that exploded. Now, neighbors here say they not only could hear the explosion, they could feel it inside their homes. They say they rushed outside but couldn't get any closer because the heat was too intense. Dustin and Brittany Ramsey were 3 doors down, saying they were rocked by the explosion.
We heard like a massive boom, like you could feel it from the inside.
Catherine Ward is Dustin and Brittany's grandmother. Her home sits directly behind the destroyed home. That's where Dustin shot this cell phone video.
What'd you see when you got down here? Just an inferno. The house was just engulfed.
Ward's home wasn't damaged, even though it's a mere 100 yards away.
My lights flickered and I looked out the window and Jack's house was down.
Ward says she's known her neighbor Jack Morris for decades.
It was really scary. You know, you don't know whether they were alive or dead.
Neighbors say Morris carried his 3-year-old granddaughter out of the home, but both received burns.
I mean, the fire was as tall as the tree. How frightening is that? It's actually quite frightening.
Now, Ward says she's relieved that the family survived from that explosion, but she's still frightened about the fact that that green shed right there contains the main natural gas shutoff for several homes in the area. We'll have more on this story as it develops. In Columbus, Rick Reitzel, NBC4.
All right, Rick, many thanks. Columbus fire investigators tell us they believe the explosion was an accidental gas explosion. Now, Columbia Gas sent a crew to the house to work with firefighters to find the actual cause, and tonight the company says it found it. Team coverage continues with NBC4's Mike Bowersock. And Mike, what is Columbia Gas saying tonight about the leak and explosion?
Columbia Gas released a statement. I'll get to that in just a second. But let me step out of the way and you can get yet another angle of this devastation here on this street. Late this afternoon, Columbia Gas did release a statement saying it believes the explosion was the result of gas lines that were actually altered inside this home. Teresa Markham says she has smelled natural gas out here on Locke Avenue since this summer.
I smell it all the time out here in the backyard, and I don't know where it's coming from. And I told the gentleman today when he came and checked my meter, I said, I smell gas all the time, but I don't know who to report it to.
While it has not been confirmed that a natural gas leak is responsible for this house explosion, it is definitely the suspect. Late this afternoon, Tracy Smith with the Columbus Fire Department says the preliminary investigation report says that this was caused by accidental gas explosion. Columbia Gas crews were checking pipelines today.
We're here on scene working with fire department officials, and we're working with them. Our first priority is safety for the neighborhood, so our crews are going door to door just to make sure that the lines are safe.
The Public Utilities Commission of Ohio tells NBC4 today that pipeline operators like Columbia Gas are required to inspect their lines every 2 years. Following today's explosion, there will be an audit of Columbia Gas inspections. Columbia Gas is responsible for the lines leading up to the meter. Once gas gets into the home, it is the homeowner's responsibility to make sure everything is safe. Today, something wasn't safe. Back live now, you can see a neighbor's home. That was just to the east of this explosion, and you can see some of the awning melted off of that, but the windows were not shattered, so the explosion was not strong enough to knock out the neighbor's windows, but it did cause some melt there on the awning next door. Now, Columbia Gas says that even though there are people who are claiming they smelled natural gas, they have had no calls recently into Columbia Gas complaining about any gas smells. We are live in Columbus. I'm Mike Bowersock, NBC4.
Mike, thank you. As soon as that house exploded, I began investigating natural gas explosions in our state. How many times has this happened? Coming up new at 5:30, I dig into the data. I found the details here in Ohio and across the country. I'm going to show you the big picture of deadly natural gas explosions. It's all new at 5:30.
63-year-old Jack Morris and his granddaughter were inside the house when it exploded. The two were pulled from the home. The 3-year-old was taken to Nationwide Children's Hospital. Morris was taken to OSU's Wexner Medical Center. And that is where NBC4's Harrison Hove is live tonight with an update.
We know there were 2 victims in this house explosion. A Columbus fire official says 2 people transported with burns. One came here. Jack Morris, the homeowner, is at OSU's Wexner Medical Center. We confirm that he did check into the emergency room here earlier today. Right now, no updates on his condition as he's been removed from that patient directory. I can also tell you a young girl was a victim in this house explosion. She was transported to Nationwide Children's Hospital. She is in the emergency room. Right now, Nationwide Children's Hospital officials tell me she's being evaluated, being seen by doctors. She has been assigned a social worker, which is typical protocol over at Nationwide Children's. They say it could still be a while before she is transferred out of the ER. For now, I'm reporting at OSU's Wexner Medical Center. Harrison Hove, NBC4.
Now, this is the second major house explosion here in Franklin County this year alone. And of course, natural gas can be very dangerous. NBC4's Colleen Marshall is in the newsroom with information on what you should do if you smell gas.
Dwayne, we heard so many people saying they've been smelling gas. Well, Columbia Gas tells us natural gas has a rotten egg, a petroleum type odor, and that odor should alert you to a leak. If you smell something like that, something funny around your house or business, take action very quickly. If you are inside, get outside immediately. If you are outside, turn off and abandon any motorized equipment that you're using. From a safe location, you then need to call 911 and then Columbia Gas or your other natural gas provider. Obviously, do not light a match or use anything that could cause a spark, and do not open windows and doors to ventilate the house. Again, first thing to do, Get safe, then call 911 and then Columbia Gas, and wait for the crew to come to find the leak. Don't even try to find it yourself. Ellie?
All right, Colleen, thank you. As we mentioned, this is the second house explosion this year. The first one was in Upper Arlington. Back in March, the house on Sunnydale Way was destroyed by a gas explosion. The family was not home at the time. Luckily, nobody was hurt. Several neighboring homes were also damaged, though, totaling an estimated $9 million in damages. An investigation later revealed the gas line was mislabeled as a water line, and a Columbus Water employee used it the day before the explosion, allowing gas to flow through that line. We are also looking into an apartment fire in Hardin County. We'll have that story for you coming up at 5:30.
Turning to weather, another mild day today, but get ready for some change. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Dave Moz is here. And Dave, when are the temperatures going to drop?
We've got about one more good day of weather across our area. You notice there is a lot of rain, a warm frontal boundary that'll be making its way north through the overnight hours tonight, and then the rain is going to arrive by this time tomorrow afternoon, and that's going to put a halt to these temperatures. 61 right now in Newark and here in the city, upper 50s down to the south. Winds are starting to pick up just a little bit. We've got some numbers in the double digits in Marion right now at 15 and 10 in Lancaster. But like I said, we are going to see big changes temperature-wise behind this front tomorrow, and we could see the S word by the end of the week. I'll tell you when exactly that will arrive, and I'm talking about some snow in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave. Well, a big game is coming up for Ohio State this weekend, coming up at 5:30. We're going to tell you what Coach Urban Meyer is saying about the big matchup with Michigan State.
Plus, Charlie Sheen and his big announcement why he is now coming forward to say he is HIV positive. Next.
We are keeping a close eye on traffic around the area tonight. This is State Route 315 at Lane Avenue. A live look. Traffic is heavy, but moving right along.
I'm here to admit that I am, in fact, HIV positive.
Actor Charlie Sheen there revealing on the Today Show this morning that he is HIV positive, the virus that causes AIDS. Sheen says that he was diagnosed 4 years ago, but he doesn't know how he got the virus. He's been hiding it. In fact, Sheen admits to paying millions of dollars to keep it quiet. But by coming out, he says he feels released from a prison and he hopes to help others.
It's a turning point in one's life.
A turning point, a diagnosis of HIV that millions of Americans know firsthand.
Our hope is that it will raise people's awareness and get them to get in and get some testing done.
Mimi Rivard at the AIDS Resource Center in Columbus is on the front lines of fighting HIV and AIDS. And she has a new generation of patients, young patients, 18 to 29, newly diagnosed with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. But it is no longer a death sentence. A new crop of drugs can drastically cut the spread of the virus, including something called PEP.
PEP, as the acronym refers, is post-exposure prophylaxis. They have about 72-hour window to come in and start on treatment that reduces the risk of infection from that particular exposure by up to 85%.
They say it's kind of like a morning after pill. And then there's Truvada, used to prevent the spread of the virus in those who are HIV negative. Rivard calls it treatment as prevention. Sheen says he's been honest with his sexual partners and is confident he has not infected others.
The two people that I did that with were under the care of my doctor, and they were completely warned ahead of time.
And you can find out more about Charlie Sheen's announcement as well as HIV on our website at NBC4i.com.
New tonight, and this is just in, we just found out presidential hopeful Donald Trump plans to visit Central Ohio next week. The Columbus Division of Police confirming the Republican candidate is coming to Columbus on Monday. So far, no time or location has been announced. We'll let you know the details as soon as we get more information about Mr. Trump's trip here.
Oh my God.
A seasoned storm chaser there, shocked when he sees the size of the tornado in Texas. The large wedge tornado outside of Miami, Texas did cause damage in the area, including a Halliburton oil facility, but luckily nobody was hurt. That's
massive.
wide, dark and wide.
Very menacing. Luckily, nothing like that around here. As a matter of fact, another pleasant day, but things are about to change.
Yeah, that same system that produced all that severe weather on the backside of it produced a good amount of snow across the midsection of the country, and it is coming our way, although the severe component of it will stay to the south of our area. We're going to see the rain picking up, though, as we head into the day tomorrow. Taking a live look at Viper radar this evening, you can see scattered showers across the area to the south and west of us, and that will be in here in about the next 20 to 24 hours. Temperatures right now are very pleasant. 61 our current temperature. That's our high for the day. We'll drop to 57. You notice not much of a drop overnight tonight. The clouds will thin a bit, but numbers are going to stay very mild for this time of the year. In fact, that's our normal afternoon high, 53. So a warm night tonight. Taking a live look outside on the Sears Heating and Cooling sky cam, you notice just a few breaks in the clouds. Otherwise, not a bad evening to be out and about. Maybe fire up the grill for dinner tonight. As far as the temperatures outside, our 61 is accompanied by a southeast breeze right now at 9 miles an hour. Humidity is still rather low. That's why the radar looked like at any minute it could rain today, but that rain kept falling apart before it got into the state, although that is going to change the next few days. And so are our temperatures. Look at this. We're going to get a little bump tomorrow, but I want to show you something here. I've got the highs plotted and the lows plotted. We'll kind of point out two lows here. Tomorrow's low and Thursday morning's low. We'll take those lines and kind of draw them across the map. And you notice they're warmer than the entire weekend into the beginning of next week as well. So that's how big of a change is coming our way after this front comes through and another push late in the week. So pinpoint tonight showing that southeasterly flow out ahead of our next system. We'll see the clouds thinning out during the overnight hours tonight. Tomorrow, I do expect the winds to start to pick up in the morning hours out of the south and east out ahead of that front. That will pump in more moisture by midday tomorrow and start to build a few more of those clouds back in. You'll notice, though, by the afternoon hours, there's that frontal boundary on our doorstep. 5 o'clock, evening commute, scattered showers, a little bit heavier rain possible around 6, and that front's going to continue to start to move off towards the east between 7 and 10 o'clock. And by midnight tomorrow night, that front should be pushed through our area, and we will begin to start to see drying conditions and a little bit of cooler air moving in. A secondary push will really kind of drop the hammer on us in time for the weekend. So 53 tonight for the overnight low. Tomorrow back up to 67 and breezy. Should be a very nice day for the most part until that rain arrives late in the day. We see 55 for the high on Thursday. Friday only 48. Saturday, a light mix developing with some snow showers late in the day on Saturday. The best chances will be off towards the north and east. Sunday, mixed clouds, cool, 42. Monday, we could see flurries again at 39. And then 42 for next Tuesday.
Will they stick?
You're giving me the mean face.
Good Lord.
I don't think that's going to be an issue right now, but just to see the snow, it's going to be kind of a shock.
Yes, it will. Thanks, Dave. Well, if you're planning on taking a large pet on a Delta flight next year, you might want to reconsider. Beginning in March, Delta will no longer allow pets to fly as checked baggage. Now, that means larger dogs will only be booked on Delta's cargo service. Smaller dogs or cats can still fly commercial for a fee, as long as they fit in a pet carrier under your seat. The only exception, customers who need service animals.
Chocolate lovers, Hershey's is rolling out a new line of simple chocolates just in time for the holiday season. The company says they are ditching the artificial ingredients and replacing them with simpler ingredients. Milk chocolate kisses and bars will now be made with fresh milk from local farms, cocoa beans from West Africa, and pure cane sugar. The company will also release its new smart labels, which will allow customers to scan a code for detailed product information. You can expect to see these on store shelves pretty soon.
A Georgia man claims he got away with carrying a gun onto a plane. Next, we're going to tell you what exactly happened and why he claims it wasn't his fault.
A Georgia man claims he mistakenly took a handgun and ammo on a recent commercial flight.
He says he didn't realize it was in his carry-on until after he landed. Passenger Blake Alford says he forgot he had the weapon in his carry-on bag when he went through airport security. He calls the incident a TSA mistake.
How did that get on that plane? For the safety of the people of the United States, for the safety of the people in the world, actually, we need to tighten up.
TSA says it is reviewing his claim and will take necessary action if they can confirm it. Well, the Buckeyes are here at home Saturday for a big game.
Coming up new at 5:30, we'll tell you what the matchup against Michigan State means for the Big Ten championship.
Plus, fire investigators are calling a fire that damaged an apartment complex in Kenton suspicious. An update ahead at 5:30.
And how often do houses explode because of natural gas? NBC4 did some digging, and we have an update on the house explosion in South Columbus next.